Hello, everyone. I am Chuang. Today, we are going to draw the body of Tylosaurus. Tylosaurus was a very slender lizard. When composing, we should leave a very suitable space in the picture. The drawing paper is generally square, so we have to choose an appropriate position in the middle for the Tylosaurus. The composition is very important when drawing. After determining the approximate location, the most important thing we need to determine is the sizes of its head, trunk, and tail. In this process, we should note the perspective relationship. It might be easier if we only draw a side profile of its body at the original proportion. If we want the picture to be more vivid and more spacious, we can choose a relatively oblique angle, with its head facing the audience, to make the picture more dramatic. At the same time, we must know that due to the perspective, its head may be relatively larger and its tail relatively smaller. Now, let's draw its whole body. Let's start with its head. In the picture, its head should be here. We put the head at a lower position, and draw it swimming with its mouth open. Its trunk and tail have lines like this. Let's start with its head. The head of Tylosaurus was very slender, which was a big difference between it and Mosasaurus. This was the top of its head. When we draw the contour, the lines can be thicker. There was a bulge at the front of its mouth, and there was a knob in this position, which was used to ram its prey. Its mouth was relatively slender, with a large oral fissure at the rear of the mouth. Here we draw its eyes by using thinner lines. Like monitor lizards, we can draw a round pupil. When drawing the pupil, we leave a notch and draw the highlight. On its eyes, we draw some wrinkles above and below its eyes. In the front one half of its eyes and mouth, these were its nostrils, which were very close to the top of its head, and helped its head stick out of the water to breathe. Let's draw the back part of its head, where there was a small eardrum. Next, we draw the muscles next to its mouth. There was a hole here. Then we draw its lower jaw. The teeth in the lower jaw. The other side. And its tongue. The end of its tongue should be forked like that of snakes, but when it opened its mouth, it usually retracted, so we don't need to draw its forked tongue in this picture. These were the muscles on the other side of the mouth. In this position, back from the knob-like structure, the front of its mouth were its upper teeth. Because of the upper lip, we can only see the tiny tips of the teeth. In its throat, we can see the pterygoid teeth. Next, let's draw its lower jaw. The front end of its jaw was relatively pointed, very wide in this position, and then retracted at the back, which was a large triangle. backward, we draw its back. This section was its neck, then its back, and its tail. The tail swung from side to side to form an S shape here. Going back again, we draw its throat. Its throat was joined to the chest cavity to form a huge gular pouch. Here was its chest. Then there were its front flippers. The flippers had 5 digits, and we can show them lightly. The first one, the second, the third was the longest, the fourth, and the fifth. Together they constituted one big fin. This fin formed a triangle with the longest point of the third finger, then the other side. Next, we draw its belly, extending back to here. Then there were its hind limbs, which were also the flippers resembling the shark fins. Next, we draw its tail and fold it over like this, and the midline of the back was here. The tail ended with an asymmetrical caudal fin. The lower lobe being larger, and the upper one smaller. Then going back, let's draw a color boundary on the sides of its body to distinguish the back and the belly. Good, like this, we've finished drawing the body of Tylosaurus.